Hey, what's up guys? John here. A Beverly Hills judge has just stamped into law that is now illegal to renovate or improve your home or get any building permits on your properties inside of Beverly Hills.
The judge has ordered Beverly Hills to stop issuing permits for home renovations and remodels until the city enacts a plan for affordable housing.
It is shocking the reason why they did this. But when you look at what they're doing in Beverly Hills, you're going to see this is clearly going to be spreading to many other cities and states all throughout the country. Very similar to the mansion tax. About a year ago, I did a video talking about this mansion tax, and I said the big problem with this tax is that California is a gateway state. What happens in California gradually spreads, and rapidly, that's exactly what happened. CNBC reports Connecticut, their mansion tax, 2.25% on properties exceeding $2.5 million. District of Columbia, 1.45% on properties sold $400,000 more. How is that a mansion? $400,000. The average home price in America is $419,000.
The median price for an existing home hit a record high of over $413,000.
Hawaii, marginal rates between 10 and 20% for estates valued at $5.49 million. New Jersey, 1% on real purchases over $1 million. New York, 1 to 3.9% of residential purchases of $1 million or more. Vermont, listen to this, 16%. 16% of properties valued over $5 million. That is absolutely insane. And Washington, graduated rates at 1.29% of properties sold at a minimum of $500,000. Now look at this. LA Times, ABC News, this story is so big, this is probably the biggest story right now in real estate in America. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to show you the facts. I'm going to show you what's going to happen and why I believe this is going to be coming nationwide. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share the content, educate more people about what's going on in America's housing market. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we would love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session. Take a look at this. So this is absolutely nuts. No affordable home, no Beverly Hills home renovations without affordable housing. An LA County judge has issued a ban on all permit requests for home renovations in Beverly Hills until the ritzy city builds thousands of new residences, most of which will be classified as affordable housing. Now, imagine you are a home owner and you bought a property in the 60s or 70s or 80s in Beverly Hills, you never renovated it, and now you're thinking about selling. Thinking about the market's pretty hot, I'm going to sell this property. But everything needs to be done. You need to renovate everything. What is that going to mean right now? If you can't, get a permit to renovate, it's going to mean the value of that building or property is going to fall greatly. If you're a home buyer, are you going to buy a property in a city that has these types of moratoriums? Probably not. So this is going to extract billions of dollars of value from these property owners unless they comply and submit to having 3,100 new homes inside of this market, which is going to be all affordable housing, like Section 8, right? So for context, Beverly Hills has 17,000 total housing units. 17,000, they want to basically take 20% of that 17,000 and put it as affordable in Section 8 housing. So these property owners, they almost have no choice. They're losing either way. They're losing in the value by not being able to get the permit, and if they agree to having these extra 3,100 units inside of that market, it's going to take more value away from their property. Beverly Hills is an exclusive community, and it's going to be a situation where you're going to have thousands of people that are getting government subsidies that are living in this area, looking at all these wealthy people. You're going to start seeing crime likely probably increase. You're going to start seeing a lot of change impacting in Beverly Hills. Now, many people are like, yeah, Beverly Hills, who cares? They're fine. They have more than enough money. They'll figure it out. But when you look at what's happening, it's way bigger than Beverly Hills. It is way bigger. Look at Los Angeles, the whole entire city. 450,000 housing units, and this is what they want to build by 2029, most of which will be affordable, right? 450,000. They presently have 867,000 renter-occupied units, and so that would be an increase in supply of 51%. 51%. So even if you say, of these 450,000, maybe 100,000, of these will be for, for owner-occupied or just, for houses, right? Maybe 100,000 of them. Maybe, right? Even if you go conservative and you say the answer is they're only going to increase supply by 30%, 25%, 35%, whatever the number may be, you think about what this actually means. This means that rents are going to fall in a very, very big way. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is a really, really, really good thing. But first, before you dive to that conclusion, take into consideration that most of the landlords in Los Angeles A lot of these rentals are in South LA, East LA, near downtown, Boyle Heights, Silver Lake, and many of these property owners are mom and pop property owners from, South America. They're from Mexico, Honduras, Ecuador. They're from a lot of different countries. They came here in the 60s, 70s, 80s. They bought duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. And, they keep their rents relatively low compared to, a Wall Street investor. And when you start to see insurance and taxes rise, you're seeing State Farm and a lot of, Allstate and a lot of these big insurance companies pulling out, their costs are going to go up, yet rents are going to go down. It's a disaster type of situation that's going to be unfolding for a lot of these landlords in Los Angeles. And so some people might say, hey, forget the landlords. Think about what happened. This moratorium that they're doing in Beverly Hills, no renovations, they had a moratorium on evictions in Los Angeles for 3 years, where these mom and pops were stuck holding the bag. And so you start to think about this. It's the war on property owners. That's what's happening in Los Angeles. And Wall Street investors, once they start gathering up market share and they start really dominating, do you think they're going to keep rents where they are now? No, they're going to keep jacking them up. And so look at what's happening. In Los Angeles, the top 1% pays almost half the state's income tax. And so that's what they're going to be going after. They're going to be going after the top 1% in a very, very, very big way. It almost reminds me of this saying here, eat the rich. And if you look at this slogan, this logo here, it reminds me of another logo, this one, right? This situation is fascinating. So it kind of reminds me of that quote from the Declaration of Independence, where a lot of people know it now as, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But did you know the actual quote was life, liberty, and the pursuit of property? That was the actual quote. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. And they rewrote that quote from property to happiness, right? From property to happiness. Remember this? Now it's like, and you'll be happy, right? It's all about happiness. But when you don't own anything, and you don't own property, and they push all of these new type of housing regulations, all of these new, a lot of people think, hey, adding all this affordable housing, this is a really, really good thing. The bigger the government gets on property, on real estate, the less opportunities for everybody to really prosper and grow. When they're going after the property owners, the business owners, they're going after, people that are really supplying jobs and employment like they are right now. You think about, what does this actually mean? Does this offer long-term prosperity for everybody? Or are we walking into a really scary type of situation? To me, it looks like a pretty scary type of situation. And it's ramping up pretty quickly. This man here, John Locke, he was the original person that said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. He was born in 1632, and he passed away in 1704. Do you think they were pursuing happiness back then? Or do you think they were pursuing property? Do you think they were pursuing providing economic value to the economy? I would agree that they are probably pursuing economic value for the economy. The men back then were full of testosterone. Men today, it's a little bit different. Not all of them, but it's a little bit different though, right? We live in a different type of generation, different type of world. And so it's just very fascinating how fast everything is changing. Now this new mansion tax is $5 million. If you own a property, for context, if you own a property and it's $5 million or more, the newfound tax on 4% of $5 million, you'd have to pay the city $200,000 to sell that property. And if you own a property $10 million or more, you would have to pay $550,000 in just tax. So you have to ask yourself, when walking into this big situation like we're in right now, where the labor market's kind of softening, inflation's getting out of control, people cannot afford to survive, like they could have a few years ago, what's going to happen? There's going to be a massive demand for a solution to this problem. That's going to be affordable housing, probably universal basic income, assistance. That's what's going to happen. This big demand is going to be formed over the next couple of years. And so when you start to really kind of look at all this, mansion taxes, talking about, the rich are the problem, looking at all the, the conversation that has been had in the media the last couple of years, it really kind of paints this big picture that, they say the wealthy are the big problem. I would disagree with that. I think the wealthy, for the most part, are the ones that are supplying economic value, supplying jobs, supplying opportunities. And when the people are going after them, saying that they're the big issue, you have to realize that once they fade away, then who's left to supply high incomes? Who's left to supply any incomes? Only one big entity. It's Big Bro. So big change is likely coming. for this economy. And when you start to see these, LA Times saying no Beverly Hills home improvements without more affordable housing, Beverly Hills building moratorium, home upgrades banned, you gotta ask yourself, is this the start or is this the end? I would say the start was probably 4 years ago, and it's slowly and gradually getting more and more and more extreme. And I believe 2024 and 2025, it's the years for those that are prepared. Really be strategic in what you're doing, in your businesses that you're potentially working on, or maybe your employer. Make sure that you have your finances in order. Make sure that you're in a really strong position, because I'll tell you, most people think that this stuff will never happen. Most people think that this will never, this is all going to go away. We're going back to 2018, 2019. And many of those people are going to lose. They're going to lose in a very, very big way. It's going to be the smart and the paranoid. The paranoid will be the ones that survive. So it just kind of reminds me of that book, Only the Paranoid Survive. It's about a large corporation, I believe it was IBM. This book came out a very long time ago. And it was all about the CEO, the founder. He was so paranoid. And because of his paranoia, he was always one step ahead of the competition, became a multi-billionaire. And this stuff isn't, being paranoid. This is all law. This is all actually happening. A lot of people just, want to say it's fear, or want to say it's, oh, that's never going to happen. Like LA Times, the judge stamped it. This is law. Like, this is actually happening. The mansion tax, these are laws. Like, this is happening. If you don't pay these taxes, you will, you will have somebody coming after you, right? Like, all this stuff is actually all moving forward. So you tell me. You think that we're walking into something big? I think we are. I think something interesting is happening, and I think inside the hard times, a lot of money can be made, but you got to be extra strategic because things are likely going to get more and more crazy. So always have your guard up and always play the defense on real estate, especially in Los Angeles. What do you think about this situation? Drop below. Let's have a conversation. If you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session. Catch you in the next video.